Billionaire pretended to be homeless to test his employees. What happened next was shocking. The security guard didn't recognize him. That was the first test, and the first failure. The man standing in the lobby smelled of rain and old clothes, his beard uneven, his jacket frayed at the cuffs. He leaned on a battered cane, eyes low, shoulders curved inward as if the city itself had pressed him down. The guard's hand hovered near the radio. "You can't be here," he said, already bored, already annoyed. The man lifted his eyes. They were sharp, calculating. For a split second, something dangerous lived there. Power, maybe, but it vanished as quickly as it came. He nodded apologetically and shuffled forward anyway. Phones rose around the lobby like startled birds. Someone whispered, someone laughed. And no one, not one person, asked his name. They didn't know he owned the building. 2 hours earlier, he'd stepped out of a black car 3 blocks away and changed behind a dumpster, trading tailored wool for threadbare denim. The billionaire had rehearsed this moment for weeks, down to the limp and the tremor in his hands. He wasn't doing this for a publicity stunt. No cameras he controlled. No PR team on standby. He wanted the truth, raw and unfiltered. He wanted to see who his company had become when the shine was stripped away. Inside the open plan office, the reactions came fast. A junior analyst recoiled, clutching her badge. A manager frowned, irritated by the disruption. A team lead waved him off without looking up, already late for a meeting. "Facilities will handle it," he muttered, as if the man were a spill to be mopped. The billionaire moved slowly between desks, listening. He heard jokes soft at first, then louder. He heard assumptions snap into place. Drunk, crazy, dangerous. He watched as empathy evaporated under fluorescent lights. This was his company. These were his people. He had hired them, promoted them, praised their culture decks and diversity statements. Now he watched those words collapse under the weight of a single human being who looked like an inconvenience. Then it happened. A young man in a blue suit, expensive, confident, rising fast, stood up. He crossed the floor with long strides and placed a firm hand on the older man's face, shoving it aside to steer him away from a restricted area. The motion was casual, practiced, as if he'd done it before. "Out," the man in the suit said. "Now." The room froze. Phones came up again, this time not laughing, recording. The billionaire didn't resist. He stumbled, caught himself, and looked around. For the first time, he let the silence stretch. He let them sit in it. Then he spoke, quietly, to the man in the suit. "Is this how you treat people who have nothing?" The man scoffed. "You don't belong here." The billionaire smiled. "Neither do you," he said. The silence didn't break when the man in the suit scoffed. It thickened. Across the office, keyboards stopped clicking. A printer whined and then fell quiet. Someone coughed. The billionaire, still hunched, still smelling faintly of rain and dust, let his smile fade into something neutral, observational. He took a careful step back, as if frightened, and the room exhaled in relief. The man in the suit mistook that relief for victory. "Security," the suit said loudly, performing authority for the cameras now openly recording. "We've got a situation." 2 guards approached, hands already tense. One of them hesitated when he saw the old man's eyes, steady, lucid, but momentum carried them forward. The billionaire raised his palms, not in surrender, but in patience. "I'll go," he said softly. "I was just looking for the restroom." A laugh rippled from somewhere near the windows. It wasn't cruel, exactly worse than that. It was casual, unthinking, the kind of laugh that happened when consequences felt theoretical. As the guards escorted him toward the elevators, the billionaire watched faces. He cataloged them the way he used to catalog balance sheets. The intern who looked away, ashamed. The manager who nodded approvingly at the guards. The woman near the break room who took a step forward, then stopped, then took another step back. Courage measured in inches, then withdrawn. At the elevators, one guard pressed the button and muttered, "You really shouldn't be here, sir." The billionaire met his eyes. "Why?" The guard blinked. "Company policy? Who wrote it?" The elevator dinged. Doors slid open. The guard didn't answer. At the elevators, one guard pressed the button and muttered, "You really shouldn't be here, sir." The billionaire met his eyes. Why? The guard blinked. Company policy? Who wrote it? The elevator dinged. Doors slid open. The guard didn't answer. Inside the elevator, mirrors multiplied the old man into a dozen versions of himself, stooped, gray, harmless. The billionaire studied the reflections and thought about how easily power hid in plain sight when people decided not to look. The doors closed. The descent felt longer than it should have. In the lobby, the security supervisor intercepted them, a tablet already in hand. "We're calling the police," she said briskly. "Trespassing." The billionaire nodded. "Of course." While they waited, employees began to trickle down, drawn by rumor and adrenaline. Phones stayed raised, whispers sharpened. The man in the blue suit arrived last, jacket straightened, expression composed. He addressed the small crowd like a host calming guests. "Everything's under control," he said. "We handled it." Handled it, the word landed heavy. The billionaire looked at him, really looked. The suit was immaculate, the watch expensive, the confidence well-practiced. This was a man who had learned early that force didn't need to be loud to be effective. "Did you?" the billionaire asked. The suit smiled thinly. "Sir, you're not well. Let's get you help." A police officer arrived, took statements. The story came together quickly, too quickly. A disruptive vagrant. A proactive employee, no harm intended. The officer glanced at the billionaire, waiting for protest. Instead, the old man reached into his jacket. The room leaned forward. He pulled out a folded card, edges worn. He handed it to the officer. The officer read it once. Then again, his posture changed, not dramatically, just enough. He cleared his throat. "I'm going to need everyone to step back," the officer said. The suit frowned. "What is this?" The officer didn't answer him. He looked at the billionaire with something like respect. "Sir," he said carefully, "is this current?" "It is," the billionaire replied, "and I'd like to finish my walk." The officer nodded and turned to the guards. "Let him go." The lobby erupted not loudly, but in a rush of overlapping murmurs. The suit stepped forward, incredulous. "You can't be serious." The billionaire straightened, just a little. Enough to change the way his clothes hung. Enough to suggest that the stoop had always been a choice. "Actually," he said, voice carrying now, "I can." He turned toward the elevators again, unescorted this time. The doors opened as if on cue. Before stepping inside, he paused and faced the crowd. "I have one request," he said. "Stay exactly where you are." The doors closed. Upstairs, in the executive wing unused at this hour, pristine and quiet, the billionaire washed his hands in a marble restroom. He stared at his reflection as the water ran clear. The limp faded when he walked. The tremor vanished. He pulled a phone from his pocket, sleek, modern, unmistakably expensive, and made a call. "Begin," he said. Across the building, screens flickered. Emails landed. Calendars locked. Access badges deactivated with soft electronic sighs. In the open plan office below, confusion spread like a cold wind. Logins failed. Doors refused to open. Managers barked orders that went nowhere. The man in the blue suit stared at his phone as message after message piled up, meetings canceled, accounts frozen, a single subject line repeating itself. Mandatory all hands immediate. The elevators chimed. When the doors opened, the old man stepped out, no cane, no hunch, jacket gone, replaced by a tailored suit that seemed to materialize around him. He walked to the front of the room with unhurried confidence and took the microphone someone had set down in panic. "Good afternoon," he said. The room recognized him before their minds caught up. "I'm the founder," he continued. "And today was an audit." He let that settle, phones lowered, faces drained of color. "I wanted to see who we were," he said, "not on paper. Not in slogans, but when kindness cost time. When dignity wasn't profitable." His gaze found the man in the blue suit. "Some of you failed," the billionaire said calmly. "Some of you passed in ways that surprised me." He paused. "And some of you," he added, "revealed exactly who you are." No one spoke, no one breathed. "Sit," the billionaire said. And they did. No one moved at first. The word "sit" lingered in the air like a command that had never been spoken aloud in this building before. Then chairs scraped back almost in unison, a soft, nervous chorus. The billionaire remained standing. "For years," he began, walking slowly across the front of the room, "this company has reported record profits. Innovation awards. Best places to work plaques framed in hallways." He stopped, turned. "But numbers don't tell me who you are when no one important is watching." Eyes dropped. A few people folded their hands as if in prayer. "This morning," he continued, "I entered this building as someone you believed had no value to you, no title, no power, no leverage." His voice stayed even. "And I was treated accordingly." The man in the blue suit shifted in his chair. Sweat darkened the collar of his shirt. He opened his mouth, then closed it. "I watched," the billionaire said, "as discomfort turned into contempt, as inconvenience became justification." He gestured toward the screens lining the walls. They lit up simultaneously, security footage, time-stamped, multiple angles. The room collectively inhaled. Footage showed the lobby, the mocking smiles. The phones raised, the moment the guards grabbed his arms. The laughter faint, but unmistakable. "I want to be clear," the billionaire said. "This was not a prank. It was not entertainment. It was an ethics test." The footage froze on the face of the woman near the break room. The one who had stepped forward, hesitated, stepped back. "Some of you almost intervened," he said gently. "Almost matters, but not today." He tapped a remote. Names appeared on the screen, one by one, departments, roles. "Effective immediately," he said. "Anyone who mocked, filmed, or encouraged the removal of a vulnerable person without cause is suspended pending review." A gasp escaped someone in the third row. Phones buzzed, HR notifications arriving in real time. The man in the blue suit stood abruptly. "This is outrageous," he said, voice cracking. "You can't dismantle careers over a misunderstanding." The billionaire turned to him, slowly. "You slapped a man," he said, not raised, not angry, just factual. "You did it because you believed there would be no consequences." The suit's face drained of color. He was causing a disruption. "By existing?" the billionaire asked. Silence. "I built this company from a single rented desk," the billionaire went on. "I slept in my car. I was ignored, dismissed, laughed at." His eyes hardened. "I promised myself that if I ever had power, I would use it to protect, not to humiliate." He looked around the room. "Power reveals character. It doesn't create it." Security reappeared at the edges of the room, not aggressive now, procedural, professional. "Mr. Harris," the billionaire said, addressing the man in the blue suit by name for the first time, "your access has been revoked." Harris laughed weakly. "You're making a mistake." The billionaire shook his head. "No, I corrected one." Harris was escorted out. This time, no one filmed, no one laughed. The doors closed behind him with a quiet finality. The billionaire turned back to the employees. "There is more," he said. "This company will change, starting today." Another click of the remote. New slides appeared. Mandatory empathy training. Revised conduct policies. Anonymous reporting channels monitored directly by the executive board. A new position, chief ethics officer, reporting only to the founder. "And one more thing," he added. He scanned the room, then nodded toward the back. "You, the intern." A young man froze, eyes wide. "Me, sir?" "You offered me water," the billionaire said. "You were told not to." The intern swallowed. "Yes, sir." "Why did you do it?" The intern hesitated. "Because my grandfather looks like you." A ripple moved through the room, something fragile, almost hopeful. The billionaire smiled for the first time that day. "See me after this," he said. "I'd like to hear your ideas." The meeting ended not with applause, but with something heavier, reflection. As employees filed out, whispers replaced shock, regret, fear, recalculation. From the executive windows, the city stretched out below, glass, steel, movement. The billionaire stood alone for a moment, hands resting on the back of a chair. His phone vibrated. A message from the board, public statement ready, media standing by. He typed a single response, "Not yet." Downstairs in the lobby, the woman from the break room sat on a bench, head in her hands. She looked up as the billionaire passed. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I should have said something." He paused, considered her. "Next time," he said, "do." Then he walked on out through the revolving doors, back into the world where appearances still lied and choices still mattered. Because the test wasn't over. It never was. The press conference was scheduled for noon, but by 10 in the morning, the lobby outside the building was already crowded. Cameras lined the sidewalk. Reporters whispered into microphones. Social media was on fire with leaked clips, grainy phone videos of the homeless man being dragged away, slowed down, zoomed in, dissected by millions. Inside the building, everything felt different. Conversations stopped when someone walked by. Eyes no longer flicked to phones so casually. Laughter sounded forced, brittle. The illusion of normalcy had cracked, and everyone felt it under their feet. In the executive conference room, the billionaire sat alone again, jacket folded neatly on the table. His reflection stared back at him from the darkened glass wall, no longer the homeless man, not yet the public figure. Just a man deciding how much truth the world deserved. The door opened softly. It was the intern. "You asked to see me, sir?" "Yes," the billionaire said, gesturing to the chair across from him. "Sit." The intern obeyed, hands clasped tightly in his lap. "What you did yesterday," the billionaire said, "was small, ordinary." He leaned forward. "And that's why it mattered." The intern swallowed. "I almost didn't. I was scared." "Courage usually starts there," the billionaire replied. "Scared and doing it anyway." He slid a folder across the table. Inside was an offer letter, not a promotion, an opportunity. "I don't need yes men," the billionaire said. "I need people who remember others are human before they're anything else." The intern's eyes filled. "Thank you, sir." "Earn it," the billionaire said gently. Upstairs, HR meetings stretched into tense hours. Suspensions became terminations. Apologies were drafted, rewritten, deleted. Some employees resigned before decisions could be made. Others stayed, quieter than before, aware that the ground rules had changed. At noon sharp, the billionaire stepped onto the stage outside. The noise was immediate shouts, flashes, questions fired like bullets. He raised one hand. The crowd slowly stilled. "Yesterday," he began, "I walked into my own company pretending to be someone without status, wealth, or influence." Murmurs rippled. "What happened was not shocking because it was rare," he continued. "It was shocking because it was normal." A reporter shouted, "Was this a setup?" "Yes," he answered calmly. But the reactions were real. He didn't name names, he didn't dramatize, he didn't smile. "This company will no longer measure success by profit alone," he said. "It will be measured by how power is used when no one thinks it's being watched." Another reporter yelled, "What about forgiveness?" The billionaire paused. "Forgiveness is possible," he said, "but accountability comes first." The statement went viral within minutes. So did the company's stock after a brief dip. It surged. But inside the building, no one celebrated. Days passed. New policies were enforced. Training sessions weren't performative, they were uncomfortable. Real stories were told. Real consequences followed. Some employees changed. Some didn't. One evening, long after the building had emptied, the billionaire walked through the lobby again. The same spot. The same bench. He sat down. For a moment, he imagined himself back there, ignored, judged, dismissed. He wondered how many people every day lived entire lives in that space. A janitor passed by, pushing a cart. He slowed, nodded. "Evening, sir," the billionaire smiled. "Good evening." The janitor hesitated. "You know, yesterday I saw everything." "I thought no one would care," the billionaire stood. "I do." The janitor nodded just once and continued on. As the billionaire stepped outside, the city lights reflected off the glass behind him. The building looked the same as it always had, tall, impressive, powerful. But inside it, something had shifted. Not everyone had learned the lesson, but enough had. And for the billionaire, that was the real test. not whether people recognized power, but whether they remembered humanity when they thought it wasn't there at all.